Please be seated. So we're ready to go now. A little bit of innovation. Good afternoon, and welcome to San Diego State University's 2017 College of Education and Division of Undergraduate Studies Commencement Ceremony. I am Nora Schultz, Associate Vice President for Academic Affairs for Student Achievement.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Johnson. I'm the Dean of the College of Education. I now ask that you please rise as the Army ROTC Color Guard presents the colors, and please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, led by Mr. Tug Watson of the School of Theater, Television, and Film.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. This ceremony signifies that the students wearing their special graduation robes are about to take a momentous step forward. It is a celebration of success, a dramatic moment in time that marks the completion of a long, challenging journey of intellectual and personal growth. It is also a celebration of the long tradition of respect for human knowledge and wisdom which universities uphold and to which our faculty dedicate their lives.
To all of the moms here today, happy Mother's Day. And thank you for allowing us to share your special day. We hope that this graduation event enhances the memory of this special day for many years to come. And so I would like to acknowledge how important families and loved ones have been in helping our students reach today's graduation. Thank you for your support. As well, I would like to recognize the faculty and staff members among us today, both here on stage and seated with our students, who have also been instrumental in helping our students throughout their academic careers here at San Diego State University. So, faculty and staff, please stand so we can recognize you. Thank you for all of your wisdom, your commitment, and your hard work. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Provost and Senior Vice President of San Diego State University, Dr. Chukwuka Inwemeka.
Thank you, Dean Johnson. It is my pleasure to introduce the following guests and colleagues in attendance today. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all have been recognized. And if you will, please hold your applause until all names have been announced. Representing the university, Vice President for Business and Financial Affairs and Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Tom McCarron. Vice President for Student Affairs, Mr. Eric Rivera. Vice President for Research and Dean of Graduate Affairs, Dr. Stephen Welter. Chair of the University Senate, Dr. Marcy Boba Michelle. Alumni Association Representative, Dr. Sabrina White. And from the Division of Undergraduate Studies, Associate Dean of Undergraduate Studies, Dr. Stephen Schellenberg. Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Studies, Ms. Michelle Lopez. Advisor for Interdisciplinary Studies in 3 departments, Mr. Paul Justice. From the College of Education, Associate Dean and Interim Chair of the Department of Child and Family Development, Dr. Nadine Bezuk. Assistant Dean for Student Affairs, Dr. Patricia Lozada Santone. Chair of the Department of Administration, Rehabilitation, and Post-Secondary Education, Dr. Karen Sachs. Chair of the Department of Counseling and School Psychology, Dr. Brent Taylor. Chair of the Department of Dual Language and English Learner Education, Dr. Karen Cadero Kaplan. Chair of the Department of Educational Leadership, Dr. Doug Fisher. Chair of the Department of Special Education, Dr. Laura Hall. Advisor for Liberal Studies, Ms. Vicky Felden. Director of the SDSU and Claremont Graduate University Joint Doctoral Program and co-director of the SDSU Doctoral Program in Educational Leadership, Dr. Luke Wood. Co-director of the SDSU Doctoral Program in Educational Leadership, Dr. Ian Pompian. Please join me in welcoming these individuals. Please be seated. And now, finally, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you the President of San Diego State University, Dr. Elliot Hirschman.
Good afternoon and welcome. What a pleasure it is to join our entire community in congratulating our graduates. I also wish to acknowledge the support of the family members and friends who helped make today possible. Congratulations also go to our talented and dedicated faculty and staff who have taught and mentored our students. To our graduates, today is a special milestone. Reaching this milestone has required substantial personal sacrifice, and in this process you've grown personally, professionally, and intellectually. And for all of these reasons, we are paying tribute to you today. In academic tradition, graduation is also referred to as commencement. Thus, today is a beginning, as well as an ending. Today you are joining the proud tradition of San Diego State University alumni, a tradition of leadership and service. Our alumni serve our region, our nation, and the entire world by creating and building businesses, teaching the next generation, making scientific and creative contribution, advancing the professions, and serving our government and our communities. In every one of these fields, our alumni are innovators, entrepreneurs, leaders. And so now, as our society faces some very significant challenges, it is your turn to lead and to serve. We are certain that the hard work, perseverance, and intelligence that have helped you succeed here will ensure not just your future success, but that of our entire society. Congratulations, graduates.
Good afternoon. I'm going to start with a very brief little story. My husband left the Army at the height of the Vietnam War. Nixon was president. Most of you probably weren't born, but he was president. It was a shameful time when the larger community blamed military service personnel for the war rather than the political leaders who chose to put them in harm's way. In 2015, this one makes you cry, sorry. My husband attended his first ever military-oriented event, a DAV run in Liberty Station. He never has gotten over that. So I ask that you stand and give tribute to the San Diego State University students who put their education on hold to serve in the armed forces. Okay, good. That was great. We also want to thank the veterans who are here today for their service to our nation. And we ask that they stand and be recognized. It's also fitting to remember our fellow faculty and students who we lost in the past year. Their names appear in the commencement program, and I ask that you join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to present Dr. Stephen Welter, Vice President for Research and Dean of Graduate Affairs.
We will now proceed to the conferral of doctoral degrees. Will the ushers please direct our doctoral candidates and their hooding faculty members to the ramp leading up to the stage? The doctoral degree is bestowed upon those who have demonstrated an extraordinary knowledge of an academic field and a capacity for original intensive research. The degree requires coursework equivalent to 3 years of study, plus further research, as well as the completion of a dissertation in a specialized field. Today, we recognize the doctoral candidates in the College of Education. Mr. President, we have the honor to present these candidates for these doctoral degrees who are with us here today. A complete listing of all doctoral candidates can be found in the commencement program.
The doctoral degree is the highest earned academic degree awarded by universities in the United States. San Diego State University is pleased to cooperate with other institutions in California in offering our joint doctoral programs. In addition, this year we will celebrate the 8th graduating cohort from the SDSU Independent Doctoral Program. Our participation in this traditional hooding ceremony signifies the exceptional recognition given by the Academy of Higher Learning to students who have earned this degree.
Being hooded by Dr. Marba Capello, Paula Madrigal Chinoya. Being hooded by Dr. Douglas Fisher, Laura Hancock. Being hooded by Dr. Barbara Moss, Leslie Ann Shortman. Being hooded by Dr. Alberto Ochoa, Mary Doan. Being hooded by Dr. Alberto Ochoa, Griselda Palma. Being hooded by Dr. Valerie Ooka Pang, Deborah Marsing. Being hooded by Dr. Valerie Ooka Pang, Melissa M. Naranjo. Being hooded by Dr. Valerie Ooka Pang, Amanda Upperman. Being hooded by Dr. Mark Tucker, Jocelyn Pacheco. Being hooded by Dr. Hool Vaughn, Jennifer M. Garza. Being hooded by Dr. Luke Wood, Thomas Randall de la Garza. Being hooded by Dr. Zhang Hampton, Mireya Gutierrez Aguera. Being hooded by Dr. Frank Harris III, Elliot Coney. Being hooded by Dr. Frank Harris III, Ryan Shoemaker. Being hooded by Dr. Marilee Bresciani Ludwig, Sandra Lynn Kahn. Being hooded by Dr. Marilee Bresciani Ludwig, Michelle Vogel Trout. Being hooded by Dr. Karen Sachs, Veronica Carranza. Being hooded by Dr. Mark Tucker, Joseph Stephen Allen. Being hooded by Dr. Mark Tucker, Wilbert Leroy Francis. Being hooded by Dr. Mark Tucker, Jessica Robinson. Being hooded by Dr. Luke Wood, Sim Barhoum. Being hooded by Dr. Luke Wood, Jamal Evan Mazik.
Mr. President, these candidates, having completed their doctoral studies, have been recommended by the Graduate Council to receive the Doctor of Philosophy in Education.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Philosophy with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, Doctors of Philosophy. Thank you.
Being hooded by Dr. Douglas Fisher, Nina J. Dramisi. Being hooded by Dr. Douglas Fisher, Tony Osborne Faddis. Being hooded by Dr. Douglas Fisher, Cynthia Larkin. Being hooded by Dr. Nancy Fry, Pedro Caro. Being hooded by Dr. Nancy Fry, Julene Kroner. Being hooded by Dr. Nancy Fry, Deborah McLaren. Being hooded by Dr. Nancy Fry, Angelica Watkins. Being hooded by Dr. Cheryl James Ward, Elizabeth Carzoli. Being hooded by Dr. Cheryl James Ward, Leslie Annette Hardiman. Being hooded by Dr. Cheryl James Ward, Anne Marie Matthews. Being hooded by Dr. Ian Pumpian, Vanessa Gomez. Being hooded by Dr. Ian Pumpian, Sherry Ann Johnson. Being hooded by Dr. Cynthia Uline, John Ashley. Being hooded by Dr. Cynthia Uline, Jeffrey Bonine.
Mr. President, these candidates, having completed their doctoral studies, have been recommended by the Graduate Council to receive the degree of Doctor of Education.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Education with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, Doctors of Education. Thank you.
Being hooded by Dr. Tanika Duran Green, Diamante Casey. Being hooded by Dr. Tanika Duran Green, Dante Pepe Haynes. Being hooded by Dr. Tanika Duran Green, Joanna Rios Cruz. Being hooded by Dr. Katina Lambros, Maribel Galaviz. Being hooded by Dr. Katina Lambros, Manuel Jesus Martinez. Being hooded by Dr. Katina Lambros, Janaya Mitchell. Being hooded by Dr. Katina Lambros, Crystalline Otera. Being hooded by Dr. Katina Lambros, Nelita Jasmine Ramirez. Being hooded by Dr. Katina Lambros, Sarah Nazanin Sabagzadi. Being hooded by Dr. Colette Ingraham, Cynthia Hernandez. Being hooded by Dr. Tanika Duran Green, Bryant Salvatierra. Being hooded by Dr. Tanika Duran Green, Brianna Wagner.
No, you're moving too far. Mr. President, I have the honor to present these candidates who have completed their specialist studies and have been recommended by the Graduate Council to receive the Education Specialist degree in School Psychology.
Upon the recommendation of the faculty, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, I confer upon you the Education Specialist degree in School Psychology with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Thank you.
We will now proceed to the conferral of master's degrees. Sandy. San Diego State offers the master's degree in 78 different programs, the arts, letters, and sciences, and in professional areas, including education. These degrees are earned after at least 1 to 3 years of concentrated study and a demonstrated mastery of an academic discipline, frequently culminating in a project or a thesis. Will the candidates for the various master's degrees please rise? Mr. President, I have the honor to present the candidates who completed the requirements for the master's degree. They have been recommended by the faculty and the Graduate Council to receive the degrees as listed in the commencement program.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the master's degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated.
At this time, I would like those students receiving their teaching credentials to rise and be acknowledged. The teaching profession provides daily opportunities through which one can influence the course of a young person's life. There is no more important profession, in part because every great profession depends upon the work of teachers. Please join me in congratulating our newly credentialed teachers. Please be seated.
We will now proceed to the conferral of bachelor's degrees. Dean Johnson and Associate Vice President Schultz will present the candidates for bachelor's degrees.
The bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies in 3 departments is a student design major created from 3 academic areas combined to make an individual and unique course of undergraduate study. I would like to introduce the December, May, and August candidates for the bachelor's degree with a major in interdisciplinary studies in 3 departments. Please rise. Thank you. Please be seated.
The bachelor's degree in Child and Family Development draws from many fields of study, including biology, psychology, and sociology, preparing students for a variety of professional specialties, such as special education, marriage and family therapy, social work, and law. It is my pleasure to introduce the December, May, and August candidates for the bachelor's degree with the major in Child and Family Development. Please rise. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Liberal Studies is a liberal arts major with a broad curriculum encompassing many fields in arts, sciences, mathematics, and social sciences, with special emphasis on written communication and critical thinking. Many students in this major are preparing for prospective careers in elementary education. It is my pleasure to introduce the December, May, and August candidates for the bachelor's degree with the major in liberal studies. Please rise. Thank you. Please be seated.
I am delighted to recognize those students whose academic achievements have earned them honors for outstanding scholarship. Students graduating with extremely high GPAs, cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude are listed in the commencement program. You may also identify those graduates who have earned our highest academic honors, summa cum laude, by the gold honors braid worn over their robes. Will all those students who are graduating with honors, cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude, please stand and be recognized? Congratulations. You may be seated.
Okay, candidates, now it's your parents' turn to cry. Members of the class of 2017, as chair of the University Senate, I congratulate you on your achievement. President Hirschman, by action of the University Senate, the faculty approves and recommends awarding the degrees listed in the program. All candidates for the bachelor's degree, please rise.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, and upon the recommendation of our distinguished faculty, I confer upon you the bachelor's degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Ms. Amanda Sherman, who has earned the distinction of Outstanding Graduating Senior in the Liberal Studies major. I present this diploma to symbolize the awarding of the bachelor's degree to the entire graduating class of the Division of Undergraduate Studies and the College of Education. Congratulations. It's all yours. Hold on, we're gonna get a photo. Don't worry.
Thank you, President Hirschman, Provost Inwameka, Dr. Bober Michelle, Dean Johnson, and Associate Vice President Schultz. On behalf of the class of 2017, I am proud to accept this diploma and bid a grateful farewell to San Diego State University. Thank you.
Well, I think you can see why commencement is, for me, the best day of the year, a day of pride and celebration. I hope that each of you will embrace the joy of this day and give thanks to those who've supported you. You've accomplished much, and we are very, very proud of you today. I wish for each graduate what I wish for my own adult children. I hope that you'll continue to learn and to grow, that you'll laugh and love, that you will embrace a noble purpose in your life, and that ultimately you'll develop to be the person you hope to be. Now, I recognize that some of you may feel uncertainty at this point. It's particularly natural, and every day of your life will bring new and unexpected situations. I can, however, assure you that no matter the twists and turns the future brings, you are prepared, you've accomplished much here, and you have the capacity to learn and to grow and to meet challenges that we cannot even envision today. As your life and your career develop, we hope you will return often to your university, to your roots. We will most assuredly welcome you back. You graduate today with our affection and our respect. We're honored to have played a part in your life and deeply grateful for the part that you've played in the life of this great university. Congratulations, graduates.
Good afternoon. I'm Vicki Fielden, the undergraduate advisor for Liberal Studies. Students completing the Liberal Studies major must satisfactorily complete our senior assessment course. In this course, students reflect upon the content learned in the major and the disciplinary underpinnings of their knowledge. As a capstone assignment, students conduct an original research project related to one of the disciplines. In the senior course, our students show an exceptional depth of insight and ability to communicate their ideas clearly and effectively. Please join me in congratulating these graduates on the completion of this extensive assessment project.
One of the highest college recognitions is to be selected from one's department or school as the outstanding graduate. Where appropriate, this occurs at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. In turn, these students select the most influential faculty member of their academic career. This reciprocal recognition is greatly respected. Let me introduce you to these fine graduates and the faculty who are here with us today. Please remain standing and please hold your applause until all are introduced. From Interdisciplinary Studies in 3 departments, Jeremy Jubari and Mr. Tom Sem. From the Department of Administration, Rehabilitation, and Post-Secondary Education, Stephanie Matthew and Dr. Marissa Vasquez-Urias. From the Department of Child and Family Development, at the undergraduate level, Ashley Thomas and Ms. Francesca Galazzi. Also from the Department of Child and Family Development at the graduate level, Jillian Garrison, who was unable to attend today, and Dr. Allison Shapiro. From the Department of Counseling and School Psychology, Nalita Ramirez and Dr. Katina Lambros. From the Department of Dual Language and English Learner Education, Annika Nelson and Dr. Ricardo Medina, who was unable to attend today. From the Department of Educational Leadership, Brandy Sheppy and Dr. Ian Pumpian. From the Department of Special Education, Sarah Marie Jimenez and Dr. Christopher Brum. From the School of Teacher Education, at the undergraduate level, Amanda Sherman and Dr. David Weber. Also from the School of Teacher Education at the graduate level, Svetlana Svekovic, who was unable to attend today, and Dr. Marva Capello. I would also like to ask the families and loved ones of these outstanding graduates to rise and share this recognition. Thank you. Please be seated. I'm very pleased now to introduce you to your SDS SDSU Alumni Association representative and alumni of the College of Education, Dr. Sabrina White. Dr. White is a two-time alumna of SDSU, having earned her master's in education in 2007 and her doctor of education in post-secondary educational leadership in 2011. Dr. Bree, as her students refer to her, also serves as Assistant Director of Student Athlete Academic Support Services here at SDSU.
On behalf of more than 300,000 alumni here at San Diego State University, I welcome you to the alumni family. We are Aztec proud of you and thrilled to recognize your accomplishments. As you make the move from student to alum, we invite you to remain close to SDSU, come back for homecoming, volunteer at an event on campus, network with alumni, and participate in the Aztec Mentor Program. Your support is critical to the university's future. Wherever your success may take you, you're an Aztec for life. It is my great pleasure to take a moment to acknowledge this year, the class of 2017 has left an unprecedented legacy. Here we go. More than 4,000 of you have made a donation to support current and future students. Hold on a second. There we go. You raised over $50,000 and have secured an endowment that will provide long-lasting support. We want to take a moment to recognize you for making a difference. Donors, you have been given a distinguished commemorative cord you wear proudly on this special day. Will those of you wearing the red and white legacy cord please stand and be recognized? Thank you for helping students achieve their dreams. Congratulations, SDSU alumni, and be a proud Aztec. Let us all stand now for the singing of the alma mater led by Mr. Tug Watson. The words can be found on page 4 of the commencement program.
Hail Montezuma, we with loyal hearts our homage pay, proud working and glorying in the spirit of the Aztec name. To thee, San Diego, and the fond traditions old and new, a tribute raise of lasting praise and steadfast faith. Hail Montezuma.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Please be seated. Now we have a very special presentation to commemorate the exciting events of the past year. What a great review of the experiences of our graduates over the past year. Under the leadership of President Elliot Hirschman, SDSU has become one of the nation's best public universities. His passion for both equity and excellence, his unyielding commitment to students, and his clear vision of SDSU as an institution that serves its community while simultaneously leading the nation has propelled our university forward, often in spite of major challenges. As this is President Hirschman's last graduation ceremony at SDSU, please join me in thanking him for his outstanding leadership of SDSU. At this time, I would like to excuse the President's party and thank them for their participation in all of the ceremonies this weekend. This is their 8th graduation ceremony this weekend, a true indicator of their commitment to our students.
We would now like to recognize individually each of the graduates from the Division of Undergraduate Studies and the College of Education. Earning a college degree takes years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. Please join them in sharing the joy of walking across the stage to pick up the recognition of that achievement. Following the name reading, we will have the official changing of the tassel. And out of respect for your fellow graduates and their families, and we're really serious about this, please remain for the entire name reading ceremony. It's going to take about an hour, which given the amount of time you've spent here across the years is not that long to be here for everyone. You know, the last people don't want a picture with 3 people out there, okay? So we really would ask everyone to please stay, and you can all celebrate together at the end. So now it's my pleasure to welcome back to the stage Mr. William Fallon and Mr. Michael Rapp, who will introduce each of our graduates.
The following candidates are receiving the bachelor's degree with a major in interdisciplinary studies in 3 departments.
Jay Henderson.
Derek Babish.
Yasser Kaziho.
Riesa Aline.
Vincent Mark Sarian.
Jeremy Jubari.
Michael Lindblom.
Spencer Oskenauzi.
Lauren Gibson.
McKenna Hanneman.
Lauren Lee.
Ashley Bermudez.
Janelle Gladys Grease.
Melissa Rivera.
Argelia Mendoza.
Monica Chavarria.
Edwin Ureo.
Hayan Saeed.
Allison Duarte.
Anthony Vito Episcopa.
Catherine Campos Santiago.
Michelle Copeland.
Warda Hawk.
Joanna Ramirez Agrier.
Accepting the degree for Ryan Solinsky is his mother, Amparo Solinsky.
Helen Lynn Panapiaka.
Adriana Patricia Perecha. Perea.
Valerie Perez Amaya.
Gabriel Morales.
Kathleen Coenco.
Sonny Jean Civitano.
Fu Brian Lay.
Robert Burke.
Serene Blair.
Joshua Blevins.
Awar Badui.
Lisel Soria.
Corey Miller.
Daniel Vehar.
Dominic Fuentes.
Sarah Lowe.
You want your middle name, Sam? Ariel Christine Bostic.
Kevin Kerr.
Tomas Morales.
Alicia Delehe.
Darren Cody Seeks.
Alexandra Perry Vallejos.
Ayaka Matsuna.
Kevin Menker.
Sarah Bustias.
Danielle Nicole LaBelle.
Brianna Tropez Toyoloa.
Daniel Mario.
Alexandra Domingo.
Monique Pothier.
Ruth Rojas.
Jesus Morquecho.
Paige Plasemeyer.
Ramandeep Tumber.
Lucy Valles.
Lei Guan.
Tau Preciado.
Spencer Ritana.
Christina Vasquez.
Elidria Shamis Harrison.
Joshua Montoya.
Janeta Montano.
Stephanie Kemp.
Armildre Yareli Baez.
Remy Rashawn Finley.
Mackenzie Lynn Kurtz.
Ruby Eloisa Facunda.
Ming Yang.
Hannah Catherine Foster.
Vanessa Rincon Avanojar.
Brandon Thomas.
King Kyle.
Frida Behrens Schimmel.
Devin Renee Burns.
Veronica Aranda.
Victor Andrade.
Samantha Maksutovic.
Brian Panaligan.
Maximilian Brine.
Vanessa Serrano.
Mahabi Castorjon.
Alexa Bribiesca.
Rochelle Rivera.
Catherine Park.
Jessica Schaefer.
Joseph Madrigal.
Dominic Guerreri.
Jasmine Claire Olalia.
Kara Vasco.
Josephine Vialta.
Marianne Bell Farinas Bala.
Tonya Villalpando.
Andrew Mason.
Nicholas Jacobo.
Alfonso Estrada.
Blasilda Mayo.
Michael Villalobos.
Tori Shanklin.
Dana Burns.
Jason Bird.
Lindsay Shields.
Amalia Althea Pesha.
Hannah Salak.
Leslie Sandoval.
Vanessa Koravubius.
Madeline Cortese.
Megumi Sukana.
Gabriella Gladding.
Marlene Velasquez.
Sarah Amour.
Bailey Williams.
Ashley Spalding.
Bronte Hoskin.
Erica Leal.
Hannah Dodge.
Ariana Pina Estrada.
Michael Cruz.
Laura Munoz.
Karina Weezar.
Daniel Manso.
Necessity Joy Bays.
Ever Gonzalez.
Milagros Noyola.
Vincent Vo.
Kimberly Zavala.
Alejandra Alan Villavicencio.
Maria Garcia.
Ernesto Marquez.
Mohammed Damenhori.
Larissa Santiago.
Sergio Cortez.
Vanessa Sanchez.
Elizabeth Alvarez.
Kevin McClintock.
Elmer Tyrone de la Cruz Soriano.
Daniel Puerta.
Dejan Mabrati. Janet Duran Estrada.
The following candidates are receiving the bachelor's degree with a major in child and family development. Michelle Ferguson.
Emma Horn.
Brisma Corona.
Maria Jose Olage.
Maria Guadalupe Gongora.
Yahaira Santa Cruz.
Corina Salileng.
Bethany Dye.
Gabriella Carelli.
Stephanie Mackenzie.
Taylor Doty.
Jeffrey Risman.
Samantha Haller.
Kim Tu Tron.
Rachel Lee.
Ileana Avalos.
Alexis Manchego.
Dulce Huerta.
Nicole Gabrielle Byers.
Cindy Pham.
Megan Ray Trippett.
Maria Negron.
Allison Carmichael.
Alyssa Renee Barker.
Jennifer Pineda Reyes.
Madeline Henry.
Jalen May Fernandez Obanya.
Erica Foss.
Melanie Hurst.
Jody Ann Gabriel.
Mariah Kealoha Uratani.
Claudia Ruvakaba.
Maria Yanes Mireles.
Erica Phillips.
Morgan Roberts.
Andrea Cruz.
Nayeli Casas.
Andrea Solis.
Andrea Cortez Guerrero.
Naomi Clinchard.
Lisa Farnkoff.
Samantha Cullinan.
Kimberly Belinda Whitney.
Aristelcy Sanchez.
Jessica Maria Stevens.
Karen Paleo.
Brianna Grace Stichter.
Maya Brown.
Courtney Ann Prinsel.
Haley Zinn.
Nozomi Holly Matsunami.
Haley State Rebholz.
Genesis Placencia.
Diana Arrio.
Myra Nunez.
Jacqueline Gutierrez.
Anna Hernandez.
Evelyn Diana Sanchez.
Krista Baca.
Lisette Valenzuela.
Katrina Shawnsby.
Alexis Solis.
Bryson Oster.
Dominique Fulinara.
Sophie Rochelle Hoyle.
Lisa Williams.
Lorena Alvarez Michel.
Lindsay Maguire.
Ashley Tapia.
Isabel Villalobos Galeana.
Carla Zuniga.
Congratulations. Yanette Mora Lopez.
Marissa Velasquez.
Itzel Velasco.
Leslie Farias.
Sarah Clausing.
Elizabeth Mozo.
Sarah Sharp.
Carolina Gutierrez.
Katrina Reeves.
Lucero Aya.
Maria Lozano.
Eva Tellez.
Aiza Nicole Mendoza.
Andrea Covarrubias.
Ashley Diane Massavis.
Christina Manley.
Juliana Viola.
Antigone Christoforakis.
Samantha Gutmacher.
Simone Claire Kudry.
Molly Pinkham.
Corey Jackson.
Autumn Chubbs.
Lynn Tran.
Emma Paul Cash.
Janelle Coulter.
Ashley Thomas.
Blake Borden.
Tyler Whitener.
Christine Padilla.
Carissa Pinkernell.
Bianca Galindo.
Victoria Jasmine Bussy Neal.
Nancy Manzano Fimbres.
Delaney Schindler.
Ivanalyn Ocampo.
Holly Rakowski.
Alice Del Rosario.
Shelby Yacometti.
Roxanne McKinney.
Isis Basera Guadro.
Adriana Genevieve Labra.
Xiaoling Lo.
Adriana English.
Aaron Cox.
Mercedes Carter.
Leanne Marie Perrick.
Lizette Ortiz.
Marissa Santos.
Samaya Idaris.
Janira Ariola.
Anna Marie J. Seguier.
Yu Wong.
Ana E. Enriquez.
Anna Ta.
Mariana Jimenez.
Melissa Moreno Garcia.
Vanya Evelyn Hernandez.
Martha Isabel Nado.
Arlette Sort Desands.
Jenny Lamb.
Zakoya Smith Burks.
Anna Robles.
Estela Avelina Gutierrez Rodriguez Ruiz.
Maria Rivas Valdez.
The following candidates are receiving the bachelor's degree with a major in liberal studies. Kiara Walker.
Megan Gonzalez.
Brian Haley.
Denise Stacy Torres.
Gabrielle Magditch.
Austin Gale.
Amanda Keller.
Haley Stanton.
Brandon Toplicar.
Adrian Lynn Riskin.
Stephanie Morris.
Allison Budzinski.
Jasmine Angelica Lenart.
Natalie Williams.
Sophia Urban.
Jackie Lang.
Kyla Brunner.
Caitlin DiCunzo.
George Sanchez.
Amanda Sherman.
Ana Karen Cortez.
Mia Fernandez.
Victoria Pacheco.
Julene Novotny.
Jasmine Hernandez.
Kayla Englehart.
Isis Yamil Garcia.
Rachel Godalia.
Abigail Duran.
Heather Vallis.
Wendy Maris Villanueva.
Naomi Barrera.
Sylvia Villanueva. Amber Fabros.
Arceli Vasquez.
Samantha Ruby Medina.
Virginia Ramirez Torres.
Michelle Elizabeth Velasquez.
Lizeth Ramirez Reyes.
Marco Pamplin.
Cindy Patrice Garcia.
Francesca Lowry.
Jessica Rivera Mendili.
Kendra Dalton.
Caitlin Mazzo.
Sarah Zeidman.
Nina Nee.
Bridget Poland.
Melanie Magana.
Michaela Laceball.
Kelsey Myers.
Amy Nicole Nichols.
Elizabeth Mondani.
Taylor Ann Linus.
Natalie Haley.
Nicole Willis.
Lydia Barrios Mendoza.
Anna Christensen.
Christina Marie Nailing.
Danielle Boast.
Kara Ann Sampson.
Stephanie Christian.
Sandra Rubin.
Monica Chappelle.
Claudia Fonseca.
Rochelle Vickers.
Rachel Vaughn.
Karina Garcia.
Samantha Wiggs.
Blanca Morales Bazan.
Loy Diceli Hernandez.
Noemi Delgadillo.
Jessica Williams.
Colleen Curtis.
Samantha Lopez.
Ian Schaefer.
Jonathan Spittler.
Allison Reich.
Hope McIntyre.
Lauren Smith.
Christina Dempster.
Kathleen Miner.
Natalie Anissa Moyer.
Ashley Och.
Emily Pierce.
Shannon McElhaney.
I got that. Anita Diodat.
Brittany Shields.
Christopher Turner.
Ashley Whitlock.
Alexandra Barcina.
Lindsay Bell.
Adeline Baker.
Nikita Rios.
It is. Samantha Trench.
Alba Salgado.
Alexandra Adams.
Claire Jones.
Roselle Asia Moralen.
Cheyenne King.
Emily Sim.
Jessica Turner.
Nicole Wilson.
Tatiana Watkins.
Madeline Soria.
Melissa Jade Dimalanta.
Erica Reyes.
Vanessa Moreno.
Christina Chum.
Adriana Ponce de Leon. Yareli Olivas.
Nicolette Elizabeth Boprienda Sandoval.
Maria Alejandra Quintero.
Sierra Janice Gray.
Catherine May Martinez.
Yesenia Awayo.
Sandra Diaz Rodales.
Lovejoy Rosario.
Aaron Gorley.
Kimberly Moreno.
Jennifer Cuevas.
Yi Shang.
Maria Alvarado Mata.
Maria Rodriguez.
Taylor Cather.
Kaylee Cooper.
Sarah Bruner.
Jacqueline Huff.
Lauren Hartig.
Paige Elizabeth Gugino.
Nicole Braun Cohen.
Madeline Potts.
Taylor Sue Giberson.
Kelly Nicole Backers.
Samantha Cade.
Allison Schmidt.
Shoshana Michelson.
Hannah McGuire.
Emilia Madrushan.
Samantha Guffey.
The following graduates are joining us today from other colleges. Sydney Cable.
Ashley Ercolano.
Erica Romero.
Madison Gibson.
Misha Ozan.
Kyra Moreland.
Carson Spear.
Cassidy Ellis.
Catherine McGill.
Starlyn Singleton.
Freya Lilydall.
Thressa Vinson. Rachel Alisi.
Will our faculty and staff Hooders please take their place on stage? The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the Department of Administration, Rehabilitation, and Post-Secondary Education. Andrea Lee Britland.
Joe Hernandez.
Nicholas Wright.
Anthony DeLuca.
Charity Smith.
Miles Horter.
Leah Schicker.
Sarah Molay Folta.
Juan Serrano.
Darren Walters.
Savannah Teresa McKelly.
Stephanie Matthew.
Haley Alyssa Foster.
Stephen Butler.
Yosef Abraham.
Jonathan Arevalo.
Mohammed Ahmed. Elisa Patricio.
Magda Alejandra Arguelles.
Haley Lomax. Todd Maxwell Braverman.
Aikate Uda.
Claudia Janet Peña Plasencio.
Matthew Hygenis Garcia.
Abdel Ulysses Amador II.
Jessa Waters.
Jeffrey Bermudez.
Fernando Garcia.
Teresa Rico Perales.
Rachel Diane Rivera.
Maria Luisa Rodriguez.
Emmeline Domingo.
Rubia Joanna Hernandez.
Cindy Huerta.
Edgar Armando Beas.
Rachel Kathleen Quam.
Arthur Alvarez.
Antonio Roberto Valero.
The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the Department of Child and Family Development. Namdi Rashid Okafar.
Cassandra Beatrice Esmeralda Arroyo.
Megan Marie Brady.
Paola Karina Sabido.
Candida Lorene Martinez.
Luciana Pacheco McAvoy.
Loretta Blevins. Caitlin Rasmussen.
Karina Desai.
Sarah Bednar.
Celeste Tinkoff.
Andrea Garaygodobu.
Nikki Turberg.
Nicole Shirey.
Hamari Montgomery.
Cynthia Silvestre.
Shabria Wilson.
Ji-Young Lee.
Poi Chang.
Melissa Provost.
Got it. It's okay.
Leah Barenberg.
Jamie Monaco.
Nicole Dalia.
Stephanie Wynn.
The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the Department of Counseling and School Psychology. Anthony Griffin.
Mary Elizabeth Eden.
Francis Figueroa Ortiz.
Marisa Aliotto.
Nikki Lopez.
Megan Elise Amato.
Ninoshka Gastalbando.
Brooke Carrasco Lindman.
Haley Domingo.
Sylvia Ibarra.
Risa Dileg Velez.
Teresa Blair.
Areli Solis Higareda.
Julia Chyburn.
Leslie Karina Aguilar.
Andrea McCullough.
Hillary Lee.
Carol Thompson.
Mylin Avanohar.
Ismahan Abduhali.
Danielle Guerra.
Wafa Shamoun.
Kayla Correa.
Brittany Najar.
Sandy Durade.
Somo. Hiba Saeed Somo.
Natalie Hall.
Mariana Salawa.
Tanya Cintrone. Lachelle Mayfield.
Walnet Mohammed.
Ariana Solis.
Janae Elizabeth Patton.
Maxwell Weishen.
Dayanara Presidio Bayarba.
Colin UC Isakeli Johan Rosmo.
Vivi Ricardez VC.
Carrie Vang.
Monette Marino.
Marcella Osuna.
Jennifer Williamson.
Elizabeth Stigall.
Brittany Ordez.
Erin Nicole Reyes Vidar.
Cody Anwright Redding.
Gabriel Rosas Jr.
Vanessa Vigil.
Malvina Lizette Quebrado.
Angela Cerda.
Marisela Godinez.
Jeanwei Kiang.
Nora Netsosi.
Sarah Nakutin.
Christine Bryce.
Tiffany Haswood.
Andrew Newcomb.
Adriana Damian.
Christina Prado.
Rachel Ruiz.
Michael Kester.
Paul Pham.
Carrie Doust Samino.
Colleen Chalmers.
Saba Ahmed.
Brandy Nicole Hitella.
Irene Florence Ortega.
Jade Clark.
Jesus Payong.
Sona Arvind Shah.
Valerie Farr.
Penelope Mercer.
Donika Brown.
Christina Fadul.
Natasha Saifabad.
Maureen Mustafa.
Annalie Pang.
Megan Whitney.
Vanessa Tan.
Ernesto Camacho.
Lauren Walker.
Drew Erickson.
Jacqueline Wheelick.
Carly Goldstein.
Jian Ko.
Huy Lin Pham.
Michael Mulligan.
Billy Chan.
Samantha Lavera.
Cisco Contreras.
Ricardo Shuya Bautista.
Brianna Cadallos.
Jasmine Wati Murphy.
Mahede Sultani.
The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the Department of Dual Language and English Learner Education. Joanna Sanchez.
Imelda Prudencio.
Sandra Martinez.
Myra Sandoval Peñalosa.
Maha Essini.
Anika Nelson.
Ana Matilde Adame.
E. Dong.
Cynthia Murillo.
Shen Min Oh.
Stephanie Giselle Regoza.
Me? You.
The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the Department of Educational Leadership. Leslie Ann Warren.
Pamela Jean Berry. Got it.
Brandy Sheppy.
Liz Murphy. Got it.
Norma Beckwith.
Nicholas Swift.
Amy Shutt.
Dustin Pedrati.
May Saturn.
Got it. Carmen Glaister.
Emily Halbig.
Jocelyn Ventura.
Nicole Salas Cunha.
James J. Lewis.
Elvia Fuentes.
Maria Cielo B. Mellinger.
Elise Harp.
Corey Slawley.
Michelle Mead.
Christiana Gillen.
Cindy Lewis.
Julie Mojette Foster.
Juan Ramirez. The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the Department of Special Education. Sarah Marie Jimenez.
Emma Lynn Heck.
Megan Ledoux.
Lucy Ainsman.
Matthew Carl Heineman.
Thank you. Adriana Anderson.
Claudia Sandoval.
Sarah Cranbuell.
Emily Adams Breitenbach.
Margaret Macabosco.
Shauna Gaffori.
Sabrina Garcia.
Sarah Bronzini.
Gina Duong.
Catherine Ferris Poser.
Jill Larson.
Nicole Rose Dumas.
Cassidy Callan McKinney.
Anna Maria Palayo.
Fatima Jimenez Bosset.
Umi Agung Murtha.
Claudia Lopez.
Omar Torres.
Claudia Morales.
Refugio Martinez.
Tiffany Househair.
Lisa Lackritz.
Deborah Pye.
The following candidates are receiving the master's degree from the School of Teacher Education. Camry Cradell.
Ingrid Itzel Madrano Hoffman.
Griselda Dominguez.
Colleen Walker.
Aaron Stagemiller.
Brittany Shapiro.
Holly Christine Herter.
Lindsay Paddock.
Jesus Gonzalez.
John Counts.
Karina Lisette Wong.
Samir Noor.
Tanner Cortman.
Tony Lambert.
Cecily Gibbs.
Jasmine Ashley.
Danielle Schneep.
Aubrey McWay.
Gladys Mungia.
Danielle Carranza.
Arturo Macias Munoz.
Elia Alboran.
Francisco Gonzalez.
Norma Gonzalez Torres.
Julie Desiderio.
Adir Kumar Indaman Ramutar.
The following credential candidates are from the Department of Dual Language and English Learner Education. Viviana Robles.
Jeremiah Ramos Labrador.
The following credential candidates are from the Department of Educational Leadership. Peggy Sue Sandoval Barragan. The following credential candidates are from the Department of Special Education. Vilma Barales.
Darren Song.
Jacqueline Sampson.
Mariana Rochin.
Sammy Loaf.
Miguel Alex Moreno.
Jennifer Hurtado Leon.
Jocelyn Cadis.
Jamie Forbes Fisk Harper. The following credential candidates are from the School of Teacher Education. Ann Yena Lee.
Georgia Hitchcock Daubert.
Simone Patton.
Alejandra Aguilar.
Alicia Marie Cordova.
Jessica Meyer.
Haley Miriam Ellis.
Dana Dunn.
Jessica Roy Mercado.
Kimberly Bennett.
Bernadette Rodriguez Siscone.
Maggie Chido.
Chloe Heisel.
Matthew Spencer.
Melena Lopez.
This ceremony would not have been possible without the time and commitment of many staff and volunteers. Please join me in thanking all of the staff and volunteers who dedicated time and effort to make this event successful and enjoyable for us all. There are approximately 2,000 colleges of education and schools of education in the United States. According to U.S. News and World Report, all of you have just graduated from the nation's 57th best college of education, the 39th best public college of education, the 8th best college of education in California, the #1 college of education in the California State University system, and and the #1 college of education in San Diego County. Congratulations to all of you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Ashley Cassandra Thomas, who has earned the distinction of Outstanding Graduating Senior in the Child and Family Development major. She will lead the class of 2017 in the tassel change ceremony.
Fellow bachelor's degree candidates, please stand. It is customary at this time for all undergraduates to transfer their tassels from the right side to the left, symbolizing the moment of graduation. Let's count down now. 3, 2, 1. Thank you and congratulations, everyone. Please be seated.
Okay, so glad to see such a full audience, and I want to thank everyone who has contributed to this commencement. On behalf of the faculty, staff, administration of San Diego State University, I extend best wishes to our graduates for full and happy lives and successful careers. To the families and loved ones of all of our graduates, and of course, especially the mothers today, we recognize your love and support. We share with you your pride in seeing years of great effort now happily fulfilled. In a moment, we will begin the recessional. Graduates, please remain seated until your row is instructed to rise. We ask families and friends to join the graduates at the main gates of Viejas Arena. For those guests exiting up the stairs through the main gates, please walk slowly and carefully as the stairs are steep. The platform party will now lead our graduates in the recessional, and one last time, congratulations to the graduates.